Alright, it's time. We're gonna limit test some battles today. Playing Gruul. The card that I said I was the most excited to play with in the set is Invasion of Kaldheim. And we're packaging this with a bunch of other invasions and some other things, but let's go through our key kind of build around piece here to start with. Invasion of Kaldheim is a 4-mana battle. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. And turn to turn, you may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn. So you play it for 4 mana, exile the cards to your hand, draw a new hand, then next turn you can play the exile cards, or until the end of your next turn. Okay, fine. That's all good. And then the way battles work, you basically put them into play, and your opponent defends them, and you need to deal 4 damage to this one, because it starts with 4 defense counters. I said so on the screen here. And then once you've got them removed, like normal damage, then it flips, and you can cast the enchantment. So the enchantment here, Power of the World Tree. Discard a land card, Power of the World Tree deals 2 damage to any target. But then whenever you discard a land card, exile a card of your library, you may play that card turn to turn. So it's like a Seismic Assault, but with some additional upside or downside. Like, you can't just go on forever. Though there's no life for the Loam here to kind of do Assault Loam stuff. But hey, some card advantage that way too, which could mill you out if you don't manage to close the game out. So bear that in mind. And we're going to have a build around that. We've got some other battles here. So we'll start at 1. We've got a couple of copies of Slightly for Hazard. Helps for the Curve. We have a lot of fairly expensive cards in the deck, which I mean things that cost more than 2. And so Slightly for Hazard kind of fills a role of giving us something to do early that also doubles the land. Obviously you can't actually pitch like double face cards to the backside of this, but that's fine. It'll help us get us to 4 mana and maybe pill some mana rails along the way. That's cool. At 2 then we've got Invasion of Ixalan and Volcanic Spite. Invasion of Ixalan is another battle card. 1 and a green. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Reveal a permanent from among them and put it into your hand. Again, got as a battle, so your opponent defends it. Comes up with 4 defense counters. Once you remove them, you get this Belligerent Regisaur. The 4 through the trample. Whenever you cast a spell, it gets indestructible at a time, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's got some protection built into it. Okay, cool. Volcanic Spite then, because we need to actually be able to do damage to the battles. This is an important thing and could be a pitfall we run into. So Volcanic Spite, 1 and a red, 3 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle, and then it has that kind of Fire Prophecy ability. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. Okay, nice, cool. So yeah, we are kind of a bit skimping on early things. Kind of helping us out with that then is Bonecrusher Giant, red all-star. In fact, we're pairing Bonecrusher Giant with Able the Mirror Breaker, the classic, I'm playing a red deck in Pioneer Explorer. We're going to include both of these two. But Bonecrusher gives us another 2 mana removal spell that then doubles the threat later on in the game. Awesome, not very much to say here. Fable, also amazing. Obviously, you get the 2 halves in terms of creatures your opponents to deal with, but then also you get to go filtering for that, find your important key pieces for the deck. And also, hey, you can copy some of the pretty nice creatures you get off the backside of the battles too. Alright, cool. So they kind of hold things together there in the mid-game. And then we have a couple of other things. So obviously we've got our Invasions of Kaldheim at 4. We have our Invasion of Ixalan, but Invasion of Regatha does a pretty nice job here. Enter the battlefield, does 4 damage to another target battle or opponent, and 1 damage to creatures. It's going to ping off little creatures, but it's going to be a big way to deal 4 to either Invasion of Ixalan or Invasion of Kaldheim. These are all permanents as well, I should say, obviously the battles are, so you can find them off the Invasion of Ixalan as well. And then Invasion of Regatha, when you do the 5 damage, there's a bit more, unfortunately does not trigger itself. When you flip it, you get a 4/4 with prowess. If a non-creature source you control would deal damage to a creature, battle, or opponent, it deals damage plus 2 instead. Hang on a minute. Doesn't that synergize really well with Invasion of Kaldheim? And yes, it does, because when you flip it into Power of the World Tree, that discard a land card to deal damage ability will get buffed by the Disciples of the Inferno flip card here. So hey, you can assemble that if possible. Some extra added upside as well as being able to pop through the battles. And then the other thing which is a bit clunky in here is Warcrafting. So 1 red, and it does 5 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle. The real problem here that the deck has is that you need to deal 4 damage to these in order to flip them, and that is not trivial. You've got things like Lightning Strike, which can hit any target, but actually does 3 damage, and then a bunch of the really efficient creature removal spells do not hit battles, unfortunately. Things like Obliterating Bolt that you would normally be able to rely on. And so Nahiri's Warcrafting is 1 red, it deals 5 damage to creature, planeswalker, or battles. It does shoot down some important walkers as well. That is definitely important. But look at the top X card to library, X the amount of excess damage dealt, and then you can exile 1 and play it for the rest of the turn. Later on in the game, it become really nice, give you some extra cards. However, or like an extra card off of it. Early on, you're just kind of going to lose the value there, which is, okay, fair enough. But it's predominantly, again, a way to kind of deal with our battles, flip them over, get the good stuff going. Along with Bonecrusher Giant, along with People of America, another card chalking up to good red-green cards in the format. We've got Esker's Chariot holding things down at 4. Gives us a nice threat we can play. Obviously, comes down, brings 2 bodies with it, and then starts creating more. Is a nice way to pressure our opponent. Is important because we have a bunch of kind of non-creature spells that we kind of want to surrounding play. Is also pretty good at being able to pressure our battles, make sure our opponent can't defend them very well. And yeah, kind of shores up our mid-game until we get kind of these things flipped and going off. And then once you start flipping things, provides a pretty nice threat to like close out, along with the flipped invasions, Bonecrusher Giant, Fable stuff going on. So far, so good. And then, kind of sticking out like a sore thumb here is Renin 7. And so, one of the things with Invasion of Kaldheim here, Empire of the World Tree, is that ideally we'd have a way to pick up lands, right? In Modern, you'd have something like Life in the Loam to get lands back from your graveyard. In Explorer, at least, there isn't really anything that good at that. And so, Renin 7 is actually the best way to kind of draw lands. You have that kind of mulch style effect on the +1 here. +1, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all land cards revealed this way into your hand. Okay, you can dig for a bunch of lands. Obviously, can put lands into play. We're not really using that ability here. We're looking to kind of use it to kind of draw things out, but also makes a massive threat with a -3. Create a green tree folk creature token with reach and power to equals the number of lands you control. Awesome, and has that ultimate stapled on as well. And so, Ren is kind of a finisher in that it can put a big token to play for us to kind of like kill things with, but also once we get going with Invasion is the best way we have to kind of draw land cards. Kind of feels like double duty. We'll see how it actually plays out, but I expect it to be decent. But only a couple of copies, we don't want to flood with 5 drops and stuff. But like it's fairly clunky because of all our 3s and 4s and a little lacking. We have these are kind of 2s, right? But hey, that is okay. The mana base then, and I went through a couple of different versions. There's an Invasion that acts like like explosive vegetation, so at some point I had like a more bases in here. You could try that, but again, that's just adding more 4 drops to the deck, which is not really helping in my opinion. So we've got 4 copies of Stomping Ground, 3 copies of Rockfall Vale, a couple of copies of Forests, 4 Pathways, 4 Gorges, 2 Forests, a Mountain. Then we have a package of Sokenzen and a Besaju, obviously great, and then 2 copies of Den of the Bugbear. You might think, why not split with Lair? In general, Den of the Bugbear is much better than Lair of the Hydra until you're like super late in the game, just in terms of being able to activate it. And then also does a much better job of like pressuring your opponent and pressuring your planeswalkers, that kind of thing as well. So hey, a bit more efficient in my opinion. The sideboard, and then we'll hop into the ranked games. 2 copies of Fry here. Important versus decks like Blue-White Control with Teferi, but just going to try and counter your important cards, being able to shoot that stuff down, but then also giving you an answer to things like Angels, Human Spirits, does that kind of thing too. But in particular, the actual hitting the planeswalkers here is quite important. So playing Fry over Ending Volley or other things. We've got a copy of Migloz, which kind of acts as like a bit of a catch-all answer because you can remove counters from destroy attack artifacts and enchantments. Sometimes you want to board into more threats anyway, and kind of to that end as well, we've got Chandra Torch of Defiance, holding things down. Versus Control, you also just want to board out all your removal, and so you can board in some alternate threats. And along with those, we have Elder Gargaroth, makes beasts, gains life, draws cards, awesome. Couple of copies of Obliterating Bolt, which giving us access to some more removal. Again, unfortunately doesn't hit battles, but does kill a lot of the early creatures in the format, pretty much all of them. And then Graveyard Hate, we've got 3 copies of Unlicensed Fast, and versus Aggro decks, we've got 3 copies of Brotherhood's End, kind of holding things down. There's a point as well where I was thinking about putting these more in the main deck, but decided to relegate into sideboard for the time being, see how things go. Right, so, Gruul battles. Let's see how we do in ranked. Let's see how we do. If you're not already, I really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, yada yada. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Alright then, into our first matchup here. We'll see what we get paired against. I feel like this deck might have some pretty polarizing matchups. We'll see what we can do out of the sideboard. Some of them might be really, really good, and some of them might be a little strong. That's the one thing with these kind of like, is a bit quirky. So here we have like, this is pretty ideal. It's very easy to look at a hand with 3 lands, Bonecrusher and Fable and Mirror Breaker. And the danger, I think, when kind of going into the brew tank is to just be like, alright, cool, I'm just going to pack some of the best cards in the format in, and there's just a little what we've done here, to be fair. That's not being around the bush. Be like, okay, cool, the deck's performing well, but without actually doing any of the stuff it's trying to do. So if we win the game based on like Bonecrusher Giant and Fable the Mirror Breaker, it's not very conclusive. Whereas obviously if we do some of the battle stuff that we're trying to do, hey, that'd be great. As it is, we are getting mowed down currently by green. We'll see if they have anything to play off the Kiora here. If they don't, what I'll do is I'll stomp it end of turn and we'll untap and wrath it. Okay. Right. No 3 mana thing. That's a troll. Exile. Does not exile. Well, sure. So we can blow Kiora up, which will slow their land down significantly, since they have Nykthos as well. We're going to be in a position where we need to do that, but they're going to have access to 5 mana next turn already to get them in Cavalier range, and then we'll see how things go. Yeah, so we just battles, not opponents. So we're just going to go ahead and Wrath Kiora. Which we're paying some life to do. So, hey. This is, yeah, unfortunately we can't cast this. We'll go away onto the bottom. Which actually, I wonder if it'll show you. Okay, so technically, Nahiri's Warcrafting is they go on the bottom of random order, but obviously we did 4 damage there. We know what the bottom card of our library is. Anyway, just as a random aside. But I was wondering if Arena showed it as revealed or not, but this is, we know, a Invasion of Regatha. Alright, go under 14. Green is a deck that could very much, if given the chance, go over the top of us. With their more like creature heavy starts, like if they have like elves, we can interact with that pretty well. Obviously, we've got a bunch of like early removal, but going like the Wolfwiller Haven side of the deck, going like Wolfwiller Haven Kiora, we don't have great ways to interact with that. Even though we've just blown up the Kiora there, so now they've got Cavalier. They're gonna have a ton of access, a ton of mana this turn. What can we do? What can we do? We get Fable. We can't efficiently deal with any of their creatures. Downside to not having Blaring Bolts, like, which is an awesome answer for Old Growth Troll. We'll definitely board it in. I can board this in, but then we're just kind of committing to trading here, giving them some more mana. I think our best bet is to try and Fable. Try and get us as close to cards we want. The Ren and 7 next turn, if we find a land, we'll make a 5/5 token, which is, you know, reasonable. We're on 14, we'd be going to 5. I think we can make that sacrifice. We know they have a ton of mana. So, yeah. Let's see. We might be in Go's game 2. Let's just go game 2 mode. It's Festival, 3 floating. Okay.
Brine on my skin. Great day to fight. Nature flows with vigor.
Haha. Now we're really in trouble. That's a con. They've got access to multiple copies of Storm the Festival. Only one now, but then will then have mana to potentially untap, go again, all the good stuff. Can't grab statue. Statue pretty much locks us out. We're going to scoop this up and go to game number 2. Save us all some time. Let's see if we can fare any better. So versus green, like I said, I want these Obliterating Bolts, so we know we want those. And then it gets pretty awkward. Chandra does kill some of their creatures, but not in any efficient way. Killing Old Growth Troll is not good unless you're exiling it, unfortunately. Elder Gargoth is a bit slow. We want to really just like flip Invasion and start kind of like popping off with lands as fast as possible. Similarly, like Migos does answer some stuff, so maybe we bring that in to deal with some of the more troublesome calm permanents. But let's see. 3 cards to cut. We need to be able to interact with Llanowar Elves. Obviously they're playing 8 of them. The danger is that like these cards are so bad when they don't have the elves, and they have a bunch of other ramp cards as well. So hey, see here. I'm gonna trim this Invasion, I think. There's a way to cleanly flip one of these, but we can, like, we have other spells to deal damage to them, all spells that deal target, all spells that hit the creatures, apart from these two actually, but they'll be able to do some damage to the Invasions to flip them that way. Invasion of Regatha is very much doing one thing. It's either that or trim some number of Chariot, because we can't really attack through what they're doing. It does go up the board fairly well on the defensive end. We don't want to cut all of them, I think. here. I want to leave the Rens in because we really just want. We would really like to just go invasion, Ren, kind of kill you with land discards over the course of like a couple of turns. Also, potentially the Miklos is just not good. I will trim one of these. We'll leave 2 chariots in. Send this back up. I'm also really curious in if you have tried any of these cards as well. There's some blue invasions that I know I've been asked to kind of have a look at. This has taken me a little while actually to get to this. But hey, if you've seen anything sweet, do let me know. I have a few other decks in the pipeline and I'll line up. Some of which you might have seen on the deck screen at the start before I loaded into Red Green. But hey. Trying to limit test the Red Green invasions though. Okay. Well, that's a solid draw. That's going to let us slow them down a bit. Yeah, our path to victory versus green does really involve us having good, them having the bits of the deck that we can interact with. So, like the Eld instead of the Wolf of the Head. I'm not going to keep going on about it. They're playing Invasion, interesting. Huh. I've seen a bunch of Polychrosis, but I'm not seeing any green lists playing Invasion. It does pick up Nickthos. It picks up basically all the cards in the deck except Storm the Festival, so seems fairly solid here. We're in an interesting position because we do not want to make this Regatha. We want to say, hey, okay. We want to say, go. We hold up this for Fang Spite. We're looking to either make Chariot or Invasion next turn, depending on what they do. We don't really want to... Okay, interesting. So we know that we have this Invasion to just blow up the Invasion of Kaldheim. I don't necessarily want to just shoot this off, but hey. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's what I said, do I want to play Invasion? If I play Invasion, our next turn looks like land Invasion of Regatha. I maybe want to go Chariot first, but I'm very low to give them time, especially because they've got Nickthos. We need to start attacking Kiora though. I think we should run it, see how it goes. Alright, time to do some limit testing. So we hit the land we need. We have Invasion of Regatha to blow this up. We then have either Volcanic Spite. We're not going to be able to play the Chariot next turn, but we will have a couple mana to either Smite something or go Bunkers Giant. We could even just Spite the Invasion of Regatha, to be fair. Okay. Do I have a way of getting mana to... No. Okay. Let's start with this. So we can do 4 to this, and then 1 here. Okay, and then we're left with, I want to play this. Ooh. We also pitch it. The problem with Ogre Trolls, if you kill it, it still has Devotion. Do we have a way to deal with the aura? We need 3 damage here and then 2 damage? Not quite adding up, is it? We could also just flip this. Maybe this might be the way. Oop. Let's go Mountain here. Just see what we exile with Pyx. If we exile land, that'd be powerful. Okay, we didn't. I think we can go ahead and do this. I will put the Invasion in the library. Now this means that our lands are doing some extra damage. I should maybe have just done it. No, because we need to do the 2 damage to flip it anyway. We can do 4 here. I don't know if I want to do 4 to the Ogre Troll. I think it's worth it. We'll see how this goes. Try and clear the board for our disciples. That makes some sense. Also means they can't like attack into invasion us. Depending on what we draw, we can invasion of Kaldheim again to kind of reset our hand. But it'll be a case of, alright, what has our opponent got? How can we deal with that? So you could go Cavalier into reactivate Nykthos. Okay, they should double activate 10 mana. That's a Khan. That can Pithy Needle. If they get Pithy Needle, they can Pithy Needle the Pyre. Which is, you know, pretty annoying. So currently each land is doing 4. And we also have this thing we can attack with. So they're kind of nice to get a creature. If they get like a Pithy Needle, it turns off the Pyre, which is, you know, super, super sad. Okay, so yeah, the level is pretty good. Oh, they have a new Nykthos. Right. That makes 7. Yeah, plus the other mana. Yikes. And they're not worried at all about the Pyre. Okay, well... we play cards to cast them. See what we hit here. Oh, we got a land. When this thing attacks, it gets to blow this up. I'm afraid we are super dead. Ah. They really don't. I'm just gonna pass turn, see what they do. This is when it attacks a... no, it's ending a land permanent, okay. It's not like controlled by the defending player. Yeah, we have unfortunately lost one. I'm gonna scoop it up. They're gonna attack the Ren, blow this up with the leveler. And, okay, yeah. We had a little bit of time there. Took a bit too long setting up, though. We are limited. The things we're doing are like, hey, we're playing invasion on turn 4 and then like flipping it on turn 5. It's a case of, okay, can we create a shell good enough around that? That game was a bit more of a test of like, hey, is the stuff we're doing powerful? It is powerful, but not as powerful as like what Green's doing, which is fair. Green's like arguably, if you were gonna ask me, I'm going an Explorer tournament, what deck I should play, I would tell you either play Stock Mono Green or Stock Greasefag, and those are the 2 options that I would go with at the moment. We're still missing some cards in the format, obviously, and there are other good decks, absolutely. Another deck's tier 1, I believe. But in terms of just like pure power level and what the decks can do, they're just kind of a bit beyond. The advantages of playing them are just so high. Alright, so versus red green here. I'm just going to go ahead and stop this now. Obviously they can pump it, being able to ambush, get it while it can't pump itself is decent. This also gives us a nice turn 3 play, that or the Fables, then lead into invasion. They got a Trespasser. They are going to eat the, yeah, that's fair. Okay. Can I just go Fable here? There's another thing here where, at least with starts to look like this, our opponent's not going to be expecting us to have invasion, that kind of thing. We have to be a little wary that they might Thoughtseize us at some point in the future. And no blocks here. I'm going to kind of try and make them deal with the 2-2. We'll see how that actually goes. The second Graveyard Trespasser is tasty. Alright, I'm going to pitch a land. And the second Fable. Yeah, with the intention of playing the Escus Chariot, I think. Okay. Let's do that. There's another line where we... nah, okay. Another line where I think about stuff, but nah, okay. We'll just do this. Not attacking to the 3-3, that's fine. It's a little bit, be a little bit careful we don't get, like, just killed by the Trespasses. But, hey, if they attack in, I'm definitely going to try and crew up his block. Fine with losing the Chariot, etc. You may attack. There aren't any creatures in graveyards at the minute, at least, as well, for us to kind of get munched by. Let's see. I'm gonna clean these up. Oh, there was also a my first draft of this deck actually had like traverse stuff in it as well, because obviously battle's a type. But also you can traverse for like Beseiju. I had some silver bullet like creatures in the deck. One of the bits and pieces. Okay, that's pretty solid. Getting a positive exchange for a Graveyard Chestmaster is pretty good. Even though, hey, the Bunkers Giant will get cast later, probably. I expected it to be like Go for the Throat or something. Well, it can't be Go for the Throat. That's one thing it literally can't be killed by. Hey, that's probably our invasion gone, sadly. So, with the invasion gone, I feel much more fine about just going, okay, Volcanic Spite the Graveyard Trespasser. I'm gonna get rid of it. Now we're throwing it a ton. We should just do this. We're gonna hold on to the Warcrafting. Better later game, but also as a clean answer to Sheoldred, which is nice. I think I will cycle this land away. We can operate pretty well on 4, and we'd rather just draw tons of payoff cards. It's fine. I'm just going to sandbag the land for now. As it also, the other thing with having lands on hand as invasion is that, hey, after you flip the invasion, it's good to have lands on hand to discard. But part of the thing is that when you play it, the front half obviously gets rid of the lands in your hand. But having them in your hand means that you're getting cards from them, which is, you know, good. Here, if they don't have the second, the fourth land, the fifth land, the giant, then they are steeply behind. But see, this does not do damage to players. That would be pretty out there. So yeah, from their side, nothing particularly quirky. We've just seen the generic green stuff. I'm gonna move to combat. I'm gonna attack. Excuse me. Go for the throat. Yep. We'll keep these in hand. There you go. There's a giant and a misery shadow. I will do. Oh, okay. They see that we're casting spells, they're pretty sure something's dying in them. Okay, cool. So, versus Black. We have some additional threats. This kind of counts. Also Pop's Fable, which is nice. There's some cards which are not so good. These Spikefield Hazards. We're already playing a solid number of lands in our deck anyway, so this is fine. And then we need to see what else we actually feel like we want to cut. These obviously pick off a lot of different creatures. Burger Giant, weirdly, does not kill a ton generally versus Black Red. We got a little fortunate with the sequencing there. We got to kill the 2-drop where normally they'd be able to pump or something like that. They have mana up. He deals like Bone Crusher Giant. But Bone Crusher is not a huge issue for us because we're not playing like any of our own creatures. So where do we want to trim? I'm still like, this is inefficient at best. Maybe on the Warcraftings, but the clear answer is the shoulder, which is important. What are we actually thinking? The Gargaroths, because they're expensive, but also like if they have like, they're not forced to attack block into them, but they have a lot of queen removal. Obviously, go for the throat type stuff. Heartless Hats, etc. Oh, please no servers. Please no server crash. Okay, fingers crossed everything is good. If I load back into game and it seems bugged, I might have to do a quick restart. Oh, it has de-sideboarded me. I don't love that. Yeah, what else did I do? Let's trim one of these. I think I maybe missed something here. I had to decide pretty quickly. Green's been crashing me a lot recently. I may need to upgrade the oldie hardware. Alright, I'm just going to do a quick restart, so hopefully we've not lost too much time. Alright, nice. Do you want to keep this? So we have 2 lands, nothing else to do before turn 3, no third land, also our things to do on 3 aren't that great. We have Fable, but double Invasion of Regatha is not what we want. No. There you go. Okay, cool. This looks more reasonable. We'll keep 6. I'll put a Fable on the bottom. We'll keep these. So, sequencing Fable into Invasion. Invasion of Regatha is pretty solid. That is a Thoughtseize, but we'll probably hit the Fable rather than the Invasion. We'll see. They're like, oh, that's another card I've not seen before. And they did in fact take the Fable, which makes, I think, the most sense. Fair enough. The thing is, though, is that if they don't come out of the gates with a super aggressive draw, which, to be honest, Black Red can do, but I don't know how they've sideboarded. They might have sideboarded all their like Blood Tithe Harvesters out, because we're not playing a ton of creatures. I'm just gonna... I should probably just play the character down pathway here, but I think that's fine. Do some damage now for later. It's not like having the second land in play is going to stop them playing. Whatever it is, they're pretty fine trading like the backside of Fable for a 4/4/4/4/4 to the floor. We'll do this. We want to say this as we do this. We're going to give them a little bit of time with the Fable, which is, you know, thing. Oh, is this more like the, I think, Shotius Oka build a red black, where you're playing like Mutavaults and stuff? Kind of popularized this. That might be incorrect if it is, I'm sorry. I do remember, yeah. I think it was Shota. There's a Shield Dread. We have some answers for that, but this is one of these things where like, hey, we have some time, right? Right? We have some time. Oh, you draw that many cards. Okay. Yeah. I played it and I was like, wait, it draws that many. It doesn't like... It exiles the cards you have, not the ones you're gonna have. We are dead. We're just so dead. We're just infinite, a million times dead. Alright, okay. The thing we were thinking about bringing in was the other Gargoros. Like, hey, can we get there? And the answer is maybe. I'm actually going to cut this Megaloss. I don't like it. I've decided. And I want the other... We should need to be able to kill Sheldred. That's fine. Okay. Sure. I'm going to cut 2 giants. We still have fairly good answers for like Fable kind of thing. We shouldn't be needing to answer any of the early creatures. The one land is not what we want. The invasions, the invasions of Ixalan are, you know, the invasions of Ixalan help smooth everything out, but unfortunately we've not really seen them much yet. Invasion of Regatha X2. One does not pop another. I don't think we can keep this, and then I think we're kind of forced into keeping this. That's fine. We plan to find a third land off of Invasion. I think that's fair. Alright, no Talon Thoughtseize is a solid start, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, we just want the third land, I think. Grab the Overgrown team. Some nice cards at the bottom. This looks very odd. Okay. Okay. Ooh, okay, so they did keep Hopster in. Interesting. You just drop out our Fable. You see whether they decide to trade it in for a token or not. If not, we have some interesting decisions. We can Regatha the invasion of Ixalan over here. Or we can just slam the invasion. Depending on if we drop, we get to loot off of Fable, of course. So, we'll see how they play this. You might want to spike down this so that we can kind of get mana and stuff. So, we can attack. We can suicide attack if need be. They're going to Bone Crusher it. Okay. Fair. I think I need an actual land here. I think I'm going to do this. Okay, we did hit. The way this is at the moment, we can go, okay, hit this here. This is our threatening to copy with the Fable later on. Or we can go Invasion, in which case we're only popping one of these. If we Invasion this now, we kind of force them to start dealing with stuff. And get to use more of the cards out of our hand before we go with... And they're all called Invasion. This isn't... Me naming them like this is really not that helpful. But, yeah. Before we play Invasion at Kaldheim. Yeah. We get our 4-3. It's also worth bearing in mind that when you reduce these to 0, you do cast a spell, so your opponent does have the chance to counter it if you're playing versus like blue-white, something like that. It's not like it just like straight up flips. Like transform and cast it. What's the technical wording? Exile it, then cast it transformed. There you go. So if they had a second Mocha Giant, I think they just run it out and drop it in here. They may be thinking, do we have an instant? If we have like an instant sorcery that's indestructible, it's obviously pretty nuts. Hey. I ended up going with Spitefield Hazard over one of the other 1-mana removal spells because they're not really contributing to what we want to do. Spitefield Hazard is nice because it helps us get to... Which no blocks this because we've got an invasion to play the other side. Spitefield Hazard is nice because it lets us build it up to 4 damage. So in combination with Volcanic Spite. Okay, well, challenge is pretty nice. What else we got going on? Where's this Challenger uptick? Okay, that's just gonna happen. I can flip this with this, but that's not super helpful. I'm just going to deny them a removal spell. I guess they set the treasure already. Interesting. And this way they're forced to attack Challenger rather than like blocking to defend the invasion. Yeah, there's also this other thing where like, oh yeah, if I do... Yeah, I'm not going to block this. If I play this, we're losing something, but hey. If they've done the Thought Seize, this is really bad, I guess. Meter Vault. Got 6 mana. Trespasser, okay. We can go ahead and run this out. We also haven't hit a land drop yet. We get indestructible over here, which is super nice. I'm just going to play this. I'm going to go ahead and copy. We're at 12. Fuck. Let's just do this. Let's keep the real one back. We have the tools to flip one of these next turn anyway, manually ourselves. So maybe we should have just held this and not attacked now. Ah. So obviously, like, hey, let's start worrying a bit. Yeah, we've taken a lot of damage over, like. I just looked up for something for a second and was like, oh yeah, we're at 12. Sick. That has happened. They're really thinking about it. I let it through, fair enough. I don't mind throwing this thing out. Oh yeah. No, it's indestructible. I don't mind so much throwing this thing away. We'll see how things go here. Yeah, the chariot and the invasion we can cast next time potentially. Well, or the invasion. See what we draw as well. Obviously to land we can maybe go invasion or something. And we have a bunker giant to deal with the reflection, which is a nice insurance plan. Yeah, they're gonna go full into the red zone here, which is, oh golly, very scary. What do I go with? So I think I just want to put this in front of the trespasser. That's the biggest threat. When we put it taking 6. That's a shell trap. Okay. And a misery shadow. Okay. Alright. So we draw. Like we do land. That's not literally the worst. So the land means we can go invasion. Right. Pop invasion. Do you want a shield red? Okay, cool. This transforms. Then we can go damage to shield red, discard a land. See what we exile. That'll do 4 damage to shield. Oh, they got the fatal push. Okay, they don't. We have we're at 4. Yeah, I think we just set to the man lands. This has almost been pretty nuts. We have to kill this thing. I'll stop emote. There's stuff going on here, but we are a little push behind, a little too slow, I think. And that's the worry, I think, with some of the invasions. So, like, these are all really, really sick. I think they can impact maybe in small numbers, but maybe a little too slow as your overall strategy. Obviously, like, you block the biggest things and die. As much as I want to waste time, that's fine. But I'm also certain that we lost 3 games here, and somehow us crashing awarded us a game. So that's interesting. Right. That's it for now. I may return to the Red Green Invasion archetype at some point. This is something I'm really, really, I don't know, passionate about getting to work, but I'm like, I really like what the cards do, and so we'll carry on trying. There's some other invasions, which are super, super sweet. I tried to see if I could get like a Sick Knight shell with Teferi. I'm not confident in it being any good at all, as opposed to this where I was like, maybe we get there. But there are some other invasions that I want to try out and mess around with too. But hey, hope you enjoyed. Please do like, subscribe, all that stuff, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.